and say congratulations, because this isn't John's victory, the Premier's victory, or my victory, or the HEU victory. This is all of our victories. You fought for this and you won it.
The government had instructed the Health Employers Association to negotiate wage rollbacks. And the HEU was not going to negotiate wage rollbacks. And their answer was Bill 29.
Over the period of a number of years, about 8,000 people actually lost their job through that process.
One of my co-workers, she said, you know, it's the new bill passed and they are going to contract out our jobs. I didn't believe it.
And it was so difficult when my son heard about that and said, look, Dad, are we going to lose our apartment? Dad, how can Gordon Campbell and the Liberals have the heart to take money and food from the tables of my friends, including ours?
That he promised that he won't be touching the healthcare, but it's the healthcare that he first touched when he, ripped that Bill 29 to privatize the support service, and that was really awful.
I was so upset. So I have home, I have small kids at home, my kids was in school. I don't know what I can do. With that time my husband went to India for visiting her mom. So I don't know what I can do because we have to survive.
Many of those workers were women and people of color, English as their second language. We organized also what we call blockade of one of their sites.
So, we had some days of action. I mean, we tried to draw attention as much as we possibly could to the devastation that the contracting out was causing.
It was my first time to work in that kind of environment.
From the beginning, it's a huge impact on the staff. They need to work 3 jobs.
Our wages were very low at the time, which was $10 an hour. And the work environment was a little bit stressful for a lot of workers.
I have 2 kids, and I'm a single parent. That's why I always get involved with the union.
Workload was a big issue, right? And lack of staffing was a big issue. And a lot of it was also lack of supplies. So we were faced with days when we go in, we don't have rags and we don't have the proper supplies to do the work.
A lot of intimidation.
Bullying was a big issue, and you can't speak up if something was wrong.
HEU came along, they started organizing members.
We trained probably about 40 members, some of whom became permanent staff.
My first assignment was Children's Hospital. That time everywhere start contract out. I went there, I sit in the cafeteria, talk to the employees. I didn't do anything. They all cried. I was cried with them because I was firsthand. I know how they feel.
The contractors probably didn't realize that the more you treat people unfairly, the more workers will seek an organization that will defend them and will be there to fight for them.
The employers did everything they possibly could to sort of stop us from organizing those workers because, of course, as we organize, terms and conditions usually improve.
And then after that, they started doing our bargaining. We had the 52 days strike with Sodexo to be able to get our first collective agreement.
Well, the bargaining strategy was that once we were certified and we served notice to bargain, that we would try to get a first collective agreement with one of them, one of the multinationals, and we would use that as the base for the other negotiations.
Part of that strategy was also to try and come to common terms with the different employers, trying to sort of standardize terms and conditions over the different collective agreements. You know, it was a difficult strategy. As I say, the government opposed us, the employers opposed us, but in the end, I mean, we were successful in that strategy, and over the next, 20 years, we continued to make improvements for our members who worked for the contractors.
Then we keep fighting, and our case goes to Supreme Court. We fight against the Bill 29, and after that we won this. There's a game in our community called kabaddi. That means you put opposite person on the knee, that means you can win. And I said on the radio, I said, we put Gordon Campbell on his knees, and we won this. And then the host, first he paused, and then he said, wow.
The Health Care Statutes Repeal Act repeals two laws: the Health and Social Services Delivery Improvement Act, known as Bill 29, 2002, and the Health Sector Partnerships Agreement Act, known as Bill 94, 2003.
I was at the HEU convention when it was announced by the Minister of Health, Adrian Dix, and I remember the room, how excited everybody was.
Everyone were jumping with joy.
All of us, this is our win. We worked hard and we elected an NDP government, and that's why we need to be political, because we still had to hold their feet to the fire so we could be here today. Thank you!
Oh my goodness, I think that's the thing that I don't think there's any words I would say that can describe that feeling.
Even though it was repealed, we were not still certain that we will be back in house.
What we did was create a campaign. We call it Make It Public campaign. We sent thousands and thousands and thousands of emails to all MLAs across the province. And some of our members had a mild protest in some of the MLA's office.
The announcement that our Minister of Health has already announced that we are going back to work.
For working in one job on that time to now, it's way different. And now when we're back in house, I decrease all my morning job. And it's really big difference.
Changed people's lives. I mean, people have gone from $17 an hour to nearly $22 an hour. People have, improved their working conditions. They have a much better benefits package. They have access to a pension plan.
Last September, we heard the good news. We cannot describe our emotion when we heard that food services and housekeeping are going back to public sector. Thank you, HEU, who never stopped supporting and believing we can make it.
That's why I keep telling also my coworkers, go out and vote. Make sure that the NDP is still in power. Because once the Liberal comes back, we don't know what will happen, right? They might turn things back again.
I can't stress enough the importance of political action, or the importance of politics in the first place. Because we are in this situation right now because of politics. because of politicians who did not really believe or did not understand the contribution of the working people.
Well, I think the most important lesson is that, you can turn it back. I don't think many unions have been successful at turning around a contracting out situation. But I have to say, I think HEU needs to be really proud of the strategy that we employed, because in 20 years, we never gave up. I think it's a lesson in perseverance and tenacity, and also absolutely to kind of keep the members engaged in this fight. Like, we have engaged our members for 20 years in trying to get the work returned. And so really the victory is theirs, because without them, we would never have done it.
When workers get together, fight for it, lobby, campaign, something happens, right? And this is it. It really happened.